Sullivan. We are the Health Business Builders. And today I wanted to talk about an experience I had over the weekend essentially working for my girlfriend who's actually now a signed country music artist. And we learned a lot of things on entertainment and how to entertain. And a lot of the things that I learned are really tie into social media very well. So Dan, pumped to be live today here with you.
Me too, buddy. Yeah, I was good. It's a good story you told me earlier right before this. So I want to hear it. Trace Adkins and his crew, always interesting what they hear. I mean, here's the thing. What does this benefit you as the listener? That's the bottom line, right? Like, why would you listen to this? Why would this matter to you? Because you want to influence more people. You may want to make more money. You want to actually have a bigger business. You want to build a bigger influence. You want to communicate better. All of this requires more communication with people in a more effective manner. And when somebody says this at the highest level, you listen. And this is a great gem we're going to get here.
So it was actually interesting. We met with this guy who brought up a lot of some of the biggest country music stars. Garth Brooks, Trace Adkins was there when they were very young and trained them. And he actually owns a number of production companies now and produces major acts for these major artists now. But one of the things that he talked about, and he talked with Kylie, and he explained to her before she got on stage. He said, when you use your microphone, he said the most important part of your production is not that you're a great singer. Everybody that comes here is a great singer. If you sing on the stage, you are a great singer. And he said, but there's hundreds of great singers. But he said, for every one singer that makes it, there's 100 great singers that fail to connect with their audience. Because the truth is, at the end of the day, you go to be entertained. You don't go there part of it is to listen to good music, but that feeling that you get, that when you listen to that music is why people come back. And
Dave, so Dave, hold on right there. This is a great point. So you're out there. I mean, this probably makes a lot of you mad. I know this upsets me. It's like, I know I have a certain level of expertise in a certain thing. And when I see other people that I don't think are as qualified or as skilled, I tend to get a little upset because they may have more something that I want. And the reality is, no, they're doing something better than I am, which is they're communicating and connecting. And just what he said, it was brilliant. He said, there's a ton of great musicians. What separates them is connecting. So the question for you is, are you connecting? So let's hear how to do it.
Yeah. So this is on the country music side, and I'll explain how it works with you and your potential patients or audience. He said, when you're speaking from stage, or when you're singing from stage, and you could use this for speaking as well, but when you're on stage and you have that microphone right in front of you, just like this, as you're playing your music, you use your microphone as a telescope, and you're looking at people specifically in the crowd. And what you're doing there is you're singing to each person for 5 seconds, 3 seconds. You're singing to that person for 3 seconds. This person looking up, singing at people, and that's giving them a unique personal experience. And what he said is that at each person that you sing to, or you essentially give, your emotion, your heart to, he said that person now is engaged with you even more. And he said, you'll notice the applause if you're doing it right, the applause after every song should get louder. And I was sitting in the back and she did it. And literally it's a huge, huge event, country hall or music hall, and hundreds and hundreds of people, probably close to 1,000 people, and it kept getting louder and louder. We were talking afterwards, like it's kind of crazy, but the truth is each one of these people, they felt a certain way when they talked. They were sung to, and then that actually encouraged them to encourage the people around them to feel a certain way, right? And they shared what they thought about the song with other people. And so she engaged with them. And just incredible to see how much more engaged the audience was. I mean, that was her third event of the weekend. I was a tour bus driver this weekend. And it was third event of the weekend. And that one by far, hands down, was like so much better. And the thing I noticed was that she was looking at each individual person versus before we kind of taught in public speaking, just kind of look up or talk, or just look at, somewhere in the middle so you can kind of not stay focused. So yeah, it was just really cool how that caused so many people to engage.
Yeah, that is great. So let's break that down for a second, because now the question becomes, well, what if you don't have, like, what if it's an event, like this, like you're online, right? And I think about this, and what it makes me think about is that so Kylie was looking at these people for 3 seconds or more, and if she's staring at you and she catches your eyes, and she doesn't go away, but she's singing you, and whatever the lyrics are, you have a certain personal experience with that, and you share that moment, right? And now, what I know to be true, and it reminds me of a talk that I've watched before, but if you're online, one of the things that I got to think about right now, like I think about the 38-year-old practitioner who's kind of hit, had some success, but you've kind of hit your mark and you're stuck, right? So I'm thinking about you, and I'm thinking about you have something inside you, this tension that you want to go more and bigger, but you don't think that it's you that has it. And I'm going to try to speak to you right now. I'm going to picture who you are and say that, no, you do have it. And not only do you have it, you need the strategy and you need all the teamwork with it. You need the ability to. So I say that because we've got to have a personal experience, right? Like with the viewer, and how we could do that online through a video would be picture your audience. You remember that one video that came out it was a few years back, and this audience, the speaker said he had this guy get up and speak from his seat, and the guy sang Amazing Grace, and then he said, now I want you to sing Amazing Grace as if you're in a jail with people that are on death row. And what came out of this guy was just this thing, and it's because of same seat, same lyrics, same atmosphere, and what came out of him. And so that's the thing I read off that, and I'm going to actually practice that myself, like looking at people, connecting with them at a deeper level. It's live or online.
Yeah, and so real practicals that you can start doing right now if you're watching this. And guys, if this is helpful for you, if you're learning from us and you learn from when we teach here on Facebook Live, press that share button, punch the like button, let other people know about this message that we're sharing to get other practitioners to be effective on social media and be effective in their health marketing and health business marketing. But a real tactical that you can take away from that is when you're going live, or if you're creating a content strategy and it's just, I'm going to throw some content up there, the reason that no one's following it or liking it is because there's no experience. Or if you have a specific script and you just have a script that you're reading to the screen and you're wondering why people aren't liking it or you're not getting engagement, it's because of that, what Dan just said. It's because when you look someone in the eye and you let them know and you speak into their heart, into their soul, that's when you create a fan. That's when you create an engagement. You don't create an engagement just by just riffing off some knowledge that you know or speaking about something that you feel like is interesting. Because while it might be interesting, people don't care. There's a ton of content online. What can set you apart is your ability to connect with the audience using that mic or your little camera as your telescope into them, who's actual physical person watching on a computer that's actually suffering, and saying, hey, I can help you. And coming from that place versus coming from a place of, oh, let's talk about this, or here's the 5 steps. We can talk about strategy all day long, Dan, right? We can talk about, oh, you do 5 steps with each video, you can add this and this. The reason why people will connect with you specifically and you'll be able to grow and explode on your social media, whether this is a live event with your patients. I would even argue that this goes all the way down even into your practice. If you have a physical practice and online practice, when you're working with your patients, it's not about quantity or a bunch of data. It's about, can you really help me? And their belief that you could help them. And I think that that's the most important part. It's interesting when I saw it, the first thing I thought of when this guy was talking to me, I said, wow, and then I saw Kylie do it. I was like, wow, that's like really interesting. Cause I've been wondering what makes people unique in country music. And I realized, man, that's what makes people unique across the board is the ability to connect.
Yeah.
I'm looking directly in the eyes, your ability to connect with people.
I think this goes with our message, right? With Health Business Builders, one of the key ingredients we're saying is something got you to this place. We need to find out what that is. What's your unique thing? That's the thing that makes you connect with people, is because you come alive when you say it. You come alive. There's something in your spirit that comes alive. So I was in Fort Lauderdale this last weekend for the last 2 days speaking. I did an event on Saturday, did an event on Sunday. And, it makes me think about like for me, what brings me live even in these, like I did one of them was a CE. So I don't love doing CE, but I did it. I had to do a 3-hour workshop there. And some of those guys clock in, but I challenge them. I'm like, you're going to sit in the back and try to, check out and read a book or a newspaper. I'm going to challenge them. I'm going to walk out the room. But the thing that got me is it's reminding me of this kind of point. I can get better at this, right? I get better at staring people and making sure that, but I always bring into, when I get questions, especially at the break, when we do a break, I always bring those questions right back. And I sometimes really, really challenge them. When I get into the place of what brings me alive is the fact that people are being deceived, I could tell the audience, they're glued in, because I just can't help myself. Like, I say, people ask me all the time, how you can be so passionate about this? I say, how can you not? Like, how can you not be passionate about this? But point is, that's what brings me alive, and that's my connecting point with the audience. I think the 3 things that you can do before you get on any live or do any video is write down 3 people, describe 3 people, 27-year-old mom, 2 kids, 38-year-old male, back pain, headaches, thyroid problems, worried about his future job, and then a 55-year-old female who can't lift up her grandkids. So you picture who those are, and at that time in the video, you think about those 3 people. It's why on Facebook Live videos, questions, or people get questions, that it becomes more alive, it becomes more real, and we end up connecting. So the key is, again, takeaway. That's such a good, even like picturing a telescope that's such a great visual.
Yep. And I love that, Dan, looking at the people, thinking about who those people are, because the truth is, at the end of the day, guys, the last thing I'll say is this: there's so much content out there. There's so much content out there that it almost feels like, man, it's not even worth it to do it. It's not even worth to go online, because there's other people doing it. I'm here to tell you this: you have a unique thing, just like Kylie did, that made, so funny. The guy next to me that she had looked at, I think was actually looking at me, but she looked at the guy. This guy's bawling, crying, and she's singing about her grandfather and, all this stuff. And this guy's just bawling, crying. And I'm just like, I couldn't help but realize that everybody has that unique thing, right? Everybody has that unique thing. And it doesn't matter if there's a zillion other country music stars, there's a zillion other people going live, your unique thing will capture that person and it'll capture them. And then they're going to want to take action, right? Whether it's online, whether it's coming to your clinic, whether it's refer someone, whether it's talk to someone else. I mean, one of the biggest things you can do is when you go live and that person watches you go live and they feel touched, maybe they live 500 miles away, but maybe they know someone lives near you, right? And so it's if you can the more you can touch people's hearts, and actually from a place of real authenticity, the better your business is going to grow and the more successful you'll be online. So love this, Dan. Love the topic. And I think that one thing that we're committed to is finding, hey, what really makes people successful in their health? What really does? Not, oh, here's another course, here's another hack, here's another tip to make it. Yep. What really actually makes people successful? And you can tell we're both very passionate about this. I'm I just got in a couple hours ago. I drove through the night and I was like, dude, we got to talk about this. People have to know. That's how you need to feel about when you go live. You need to feel that passion. You need to feel it. And again, our goal is to uncover what those things are, what those things like passion and, specific strategies as well on how to be successful in online.
And everybody goes to the strategy. Everybody goes to the strategy. And strategy is great and it's needed and it's important and it's vital. And we do it and talk about, teach it and coach it. But if you don't have the thing that separates you and you don't know what that is, right? And this is another key ingredient to, I love that whole, I'm really going to use this in a lot of ways, but that's the thing. And so for you, if you're out there, if you're a listener, you've tuned in to, maybe this is the first video you've tuned into, you've tuned in to, dozens of ours, you've been to our website, you've been to our stuff. I want to encourage you that thing inside you, if it's there and it's still there, the reason why we do what we do is because we know there's so many great experts that the world needs to hear from, but they don't know how to actually bottle this up, put it in a wheelbarrow, and then have everything to come alongside it, because someone's just telling them, oh, go do this or start a podcast or do this, all the tactics. But it's if we could double down on the main thing and then surround you, that's what we want to do. So hopefully if this has kept your attention, hey, tune in more, get more, give us the time and we'll bring that out of you.
Awesome. Any questions, shoot me a DM. God bless you guys. Have a great week.